Make a move, make it matter. Yeah. Forget the rest.
How y'all feeling that?
You're rocking with the best radio station on the planet. SDM Live Unplugged.
Hello. We're back. Real Talk with Crystal P.
And Rosalind.
So today we're going to be talking about Black history.
A little bit.
Huh?
A little bit.
Oh,
just to commemorate Black History Month.
Yes.
Because we forgot to talk about it last week. Or the week, whatever, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. I'm actually trying to pull something up. I have to open my phone.
So wait a minute. So Chris, you don't have no Crystal topics for today?
Yeah, I do. Girl, I'm trying to pull them up.
Okay.
I forgot to open my phone up. So yeah, it was this young man. I was looking at the story on the news. His name was Nixon. He was charged and sentenced to life in prison for a firebombing that he did not commit.
Okay.
Part of the evidence they used to convict him was they say he had gasoline on his clothes.
Mm-hmm.
He was a tow truck driver.
Okay.
That's always possible.
Right.
They didn't care about that. They just basically wanted to lock him up because they needed somebody to blame on, this crime for it.
Mm-hmm.
He spent 15 years in prison.
Mm-hmm.
And now, because of the Innocence Project, they're finally getting him out of jail.
Okay.
And it's just crazy. Like, so many people are convicted. And it's like the police know, a lot of times they know they're innocent. They don't care. They just need a conviction. So it's like people are being locked up, even if the evidence is circumstantial, even if you don't have evidence. Young Black male, only 18 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's like, unfortunately, he's like a perfect candidate.
It's lazy police work. They're lazy.
Yes.
And they don't care.
And it's just sad. Huh?
They don't care who they put in jail.
At all. And it's just sad because you have so many young men, and we don't really hear the stories about women.
Mm-hmm.
So I do kind of wonder, like, how many women have actually, been caught up in this?
I just looked at an article about a young a lady that went to jail, and I'm giving y'all pieces of what I can recall what it was saying in the article. But she was dropping her babies off at daycare. She was in college. She was on her way to school. The police rolled down on her, arrested her. Her boyfriend was a drug dealer, and they got her. She wouldn't talk. They put it on her, and she went to prison.
Wow.
Like 10 years, I believe.
Guilty till proven different? Absolutely. Absolutely.
And she finally, I can't remember how she ended up now, but they finally released her.
I was reading one of our comments in the chat room. Definitely right, Michael. I don't understand it. It makes no sense at all. We have too many innocent people going to jail. Evidence is circumstantial, if they have evidence at all, and they're losing years of their lives. Mm-hmm. Because to me, what can you give them? Like, some people get money, some kind of financial, I guess, offer saying, "Oh, we messed up. Here you go." How much money can you really give someone who was in prison for? I don't even care if it's a year, but talking about 22 years, 27. I think the most I remember was 30 years. Someone was locked up in prison, and they were innocent, and they were saying they were innocent. Oof! I'm looking at our comments.
Yeah, Michael said he's seen it a lot. He did 10 years. It is a very broken system.
Absolutely.
That they don't want to fix.
No.
Because it's just like the issue with drugs. It's always war on drugs, but yeah, we still got a drug problem because y'all not trying to fix it.
No, I mean, but who's supplying all the drugs? We are not about to pretend that these average everyday guys are getting all these drugs from other countries and smuggling this stuff in.
Mm-hmm.
They're not doing this on their own. They didn't bring drugs to this country to begin with on their own. And I mean, we all know somebody has their hand in this.
I mean, and they keep it, and it's a source of economical movement in the country as well.
Yeah.
Because you have people that's on drugs, unfortunately. So now
Mhm.
then you incarcerate people. You need people in drug treatment. So now you're employing parole officers and drug treatment counselors, social workers, like all these people that this is their specialty.
Yeah.
So you keep that industry going.
But imagine how many people are in jail right now because they had a drug problem. They weren't selling, they weren't trying to, distribute the drugs, they weren't doing anything, but they were addicted. So now all of a sudden we care enough to get them treatment and get them help. But back in the day, we had people serving a lot of time because they were addicts.
True.
And it's crazy. It's crazy. But then you look at marijuana. Now we're selling marijuana. Now the system has their hand in it. So it's okay now.
And now they're trying to let people out that's been in prison for like 25 years for marijuana, which is insane. When murderers get out sooner than that, rapists get out sooner than that, pedophiles get out sooner than that.
Absolutely. But you're talking about, if you look at 5 years, imagine how much has changed in 5 years. So we're talking 20, 25, 30 years somebody's been in prison. You're coming out to a whole new world. And I couldn't imagine the cultural shock. Like how hard that has to be to, even like Michael said, 10 years. I couldn't imagine you're gone for a decade and you come back out to something completely different. Like you have to really catch up. And it's hard. I mean, we had flip phones. And Michael said the world he came out was different when he came home.
I mean, because when you think about it, they come out with a new cell phone every year. It's always something. So it's moving quickly, even for us. It's hard for us to keep up with what's going on.
Yes.
Because I still ain't up to social media. And you know that, Chris. That just left me in the wind. I'm like, I'm done.
And Michael was saying that he's still dealing with issues from 10 years and dealing with isolation. But you're talking about a decade that you lost. That's 10 years. So if you had a 10-year-old son, your son is 20 years old by the time you come home. Like it's a different world. It's a lot. And then we don't know what goes on in there. You know what I'm saying? We know what we hear. Like for us, if you've never been in jail, you know what you see on TV. Besides that, you know what you hear from others. And for some people, it's a lot. Then they throw you in a hole. Like that isolation right there would drive a person crazy.
They technically don't do that, so they say.
Oh, they lie. Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, yeah.
That's hard to come back.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yep, that's a big change.
Yeah, you left a 3-year-old, came back to a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
Wow. So just like people have to think about stuff like this. Imagine coming back and now, like this child knows who you are, but now you have to really talk to them, get to know them. Whew.
Yeah.
That's a lot. My heart goes out to you, Michael. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Never imagine ever.
Yeah. It's like you gotta get to know them all over again. Well, you have to get to know them the first time, actually, because they don't know you.
Yeah.
So it's hard on they don't realize, and that's the other thing. Like when they do those things, they don't realize that it's not just one victim. It's several victims when people get put in prison. Especially like it really just burns my behind with all the non-violent offenders that get the type of time that they've been given. That it doesn't make sense
at all.
And so now they have these felonies on them, and then the system is set up against them. So if they come out of, then if you come out of prison and you had a felony and you want to go to college, you can't even get financial aid. You know what I'm saying? It's like all these barriers, but you want me to be a productive citizen,
right? You want to
things away from me so I can be productive.
So what they're saying is they want you to fail. They want you to come back out. And they want you to fail. Honestly, it's like you're being punished over and over again. If you went to jail, you served your time. Allow them to come out. Allow them to start their lives over. Give them an opportunity. Okay, he said you can get aid. Okay,
you can get financial aid now for college. Okay, so
Let's,
they just changed it. Okay, that's good because it was like that for years, and I was like, that's insane.
yeah, I don't
That's insane.
understand that.
I did my time.
Oh, that just started.
So it, but because it's like you did your time, so you paid your debt to society. So reacclimate me into society. All that other stuff should be done with. It shouldn't matter that I got a felony. That's dead and done because I paid my debt.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all. Like it doesn't make sense. Give them an opportunity. Like unless you're out here raping women and kids. Now for that, I'm sorry, you don't need a job working with women, working with children in daycare or in a school, stuff like that. So for things like that, yeah, I understand that.
But that's why they should
he said this is what Trey and I are fighting for now.
Yeah, to get things back right, to make it fair.
Wow.
To make it fair. Because I always tell people, my friend, she teases me. She's like, you always defending somebody that's been in jail. I'm like, well, they paid their debt to society. Why are you going to hold that against them? People, and most of them went to prison when they were kids. Yeah. Their brains wasn't even fully developed. You know what I'm saying? You 25 by the time that's done. Right. So you a totally different person from 18 to 25.
Absolutely.
And we know that just from experience, just not being in prison. I know I changed from that time frame to this time frame.
You do. So imagine being held back. Like it's like your growth was stunning. Yeah. That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah. So
Mike, put the name of your show up there so people know the name of your show.
Yeah, so they can tune in to you and Trey.
I went 2 days after my 21st. Wow. Just a baby.
He was a baby. Yeah, he was a baby. A baby. That's a long time. Oh, you then now only okay, so you fresh out still basically.
Yeah. But you guys are
so the name of the gentleman that's on our chat is Michael, and he has a podcast, Street Life with the Mic. So check them out.
Yes.
After us at 8 p.m.
Yeah, they talk a lot about prison reform and just making changes. And honestly, both of the guys that are on the show are success stories.
Yeah.
They got out of prison. They did their time. They came out, changed their lives. They're doing well. They're successful.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're out here making a difference and trying to really fight for other people who are in prison or who are getting out of prison. So yeah, you guys definitely need to check them out because they're out here doing it. But it's a lot, man. It's crazy. So
I know you got some other topics that you want to. I can't even think of nothing.
Before we get to the Black History stuff.
I barely looked at the news this week to even see what's going on. Besides all that the political stuff.
I forgot everything.
You're welcome, Michael.
Welcome. We got you. So Serena Williams. Did you see her little press conference she did?
I haven't. That's why I just said I haven't really looked at any news. Like if I'm looking at like CNN or something. I barely looked at that this week.
Well, they were just asking her, basically, was she considering like retiring now? And just kind of wrapping it up. So I don't know like what was going on, if it was a reason why they asked that, other than the fact that, they were saying like she's getting older, I guess, for playing tennis. Somebody, I guess they start out at what, 18?
She started off at like 12 or 13.
I forgot they were babies. Yeah, they were
babies. Yeah, they were young.
At her age now, she's only what, in her 30s or early 40s?
Probably like 36.
Yeah.
36. She's not
but
that old.
When you're in sports, you do retire pretty early.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot on your body. So they were just asking her, and she was trying to answer the question. She said she wasn't really sure. And then she got a little choked up, and she actually had to just kind of end the press conference and walk off. And a lot of people were just saying, well, it probably is around that time for her to get ready to retire. It was like she's still at the top of her game.
Yeah.
Her and her sister are success stories.
Yeah. Like, and it's the perfect time when for me, I would want to retire at the top of the game.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I can see how that can be emotional. That's she's been playing tennis her entire life. That's all she knows, and she enjoys it. So then to stop doing something that you enjoy competitively, because she knows she bought at her time, is somebody else is coming along and gonna take that spot.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, nothing that they've ever done will be diminished. Like Venus and Serena came out, they killed it. They dominated. These two Black girls came out and they did it. They're awesome success stories, and I just love it. You know, whatever she does. But I mean, at this point, I do get it. Like, it will become harder on her body the older she gets. And of course, it is harder sometimes to compete with a 17-year-old, 18-year-old.
It is harder to compete. It is harder. Ain't no get harder. It is.
But you know, hey, some of these kids can't keep up though. You do have some people that are in excellent shape, that are our age or older, that are just, I mean, they take care of themselves.
Wow, so, Serena's 39. I didn't think she was that old.
Okay, that's why they were asking then.
Serena 39, yeah.
Well, she'll be okay, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's just a new chapter in her life. You know, it's kind of hard, but it's a new chapter. I think she'll do well in whatever she does. And she has the money to do it.
Right.
Which makes a huge difference when you have those finances.
She can spend time with her baby and her husband, you know, and do her. I mean, she has time. I'm sure she has other hobbies and things that she probably would like to do. Now she has the means to do it. So
yeah. All right. So let's get on our topic. We just wanted to kind of talk about Black history for a minute.
Right. Take it over, Chris, because you know all the information.
I do not know everything. I didn't even get a chance to finish reading like I was doing earlier. I'm gonna finish reading everything. So racist statues, like, excuse me, people are really upset that a lot of these statues are coming down, but it's time. It's time. Why keep racist statues up? Why keep the name of buildings that we know were schools that we know were named after slave owners, slave traders? Why do we keep honoring these people? Because that's what we're doing. Right? It's time to acknowledge what happened in this country. It's time to do right by all of our citizens.
Right. But they all, you know how that go, Chris. They don't want to do that.
I don't agree with that.
Why would we want to do that? Why would we continue? Why would we stop naming your neighborhoods and your schools and things like that off of old slave owners? We want you to remember where you came from. Y'all were slaves.
Yeah, no, see,
it's your lineage. Remember that.
I prefer to hear other things.
But that's part of it. All that plays into the psyche of people.
Yes.
And they understand that, and they know that, because why not in the white neighborhoods there's not a Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. school? You know
they also don't have a bunch of liquor stores on every corner.
Nope. Well, it's kind of changing depending on where you at. It's changing. I mean, because at the end of the day, people need to understand what's done to one group eventually will be done to the next.
Absolutely.
You are not mistreatment. If they all they're doing is seeing that you're okay with this group being mistreated, then you're gonna be okay with you being mistreated, and you can't say nothing about it.
Yeah.
Because you've already watched it happen to a group. So now we're gonna just expand this out to your group. And you're going to take it and keep your mouth shut because you already didn't watch it happen. I mean, it's the same things like with drugs in the Black community. Crack took over the Black community. Nobody was like, it was like nobody talking about it. Like, oh, them crackheads, them this and that and the other. Now we have the opioid problem. And now it's like, oh my God, nobody cares. We don't care.
Right.
We've been there, done that. Y'all here.
Yeah.
Right, because it was like nobody cared when it was. We've been through this already. Where was y'all at? Y'all didn't care. So, but now you want us to care about you.
Yeah, but you know what's crazy? I remember as a kid. Remember as a kid when they were talking about the war on drugs, and they would have like the commercials. Remember it was a commercial where they would have an egg frying and say,
"Girl, that takes me from smoking any type of crack." I said that kept me from smoking any type of crack. I was like, oh no.
Right. There was an egg. They would fry an egg and say, "This is your brain on crack," or "This is your brain on drugs." But what I did,
and there was like drugs.
Yes. But what I didn't realize as a kid, I was watching this program, and they were saying the war on drugs basically started after they put drugs in the Black community. Then they started the war on drugs, which basically took some of everybody off the streets and locked them up. So we're looking at really mass incarceration without them actually saying it was mass incarceration.
And not even, and people don't realize this, and that's why it kind of it irritates me. But when they talk about the Black community and they say things like y'all so far behind, and this any community, I'm just not gonna just say the Black community, any community that's being disenfranchised and being and having predatory policies and things placed upon them. When you put drugs in the community, you not only, it's not just mass incarceration. So now you have all these women and men that are reproducing, and these children are affected by these drugs. Absolutely. So now you have delayments with people, and so these people, they grow up, they having kids, and all this stuff is genetically embedded in them. And you think they supposed to be functioning at normal, but they was crack babies. A crack baby ain't gonna function normal.
Well, that was the plan. It's generational. Just like you could pass on generational wealth, I really believe you can pass on generational curses. It's generational poverty. A lot of things are generational. Where grandma had public assistance, you had public assistance, and you're the great granddaughter.
Yeah, because they don't see it out. They don't see a light at the end of the tunnel. This is what they know. You know what I mean? And hopefully they get a whole control of what's going on with the heroin. Because heroin, when I heard they was doing heroin, I'm like, who the hell doing heroin today?
Girl.
Like, y'all didn't get the memo back in the 90s, 80s, 70s. That was like,
I mean, they know what they're doing. It's intentional.
Yeah,
no
but
again, doing it, they know what they're doing.
This is what we see as it happened to us. Now it's happening to you, and that's what happens when you're complacent about another group of people. It'll soon come home to your house. It's gonna knock at your door. So we need to be all compassionate to one another when we going through things. But it is very, I'm gonna be honest, it's very hard when they talk about the opioid addiction. And I talk to other people of color because it's a resentment how they treated the Black community when this was going on. And so you want all of this, it's this big to do, but we don't ever want to see, I don't ever want to see a crisis like that in any community. No. Because we know the devastation that happens behind that.
Absolutely. So let's talk about generational wealth from slavery. Like there are a lot of,
Who got it?
Girl, it's a lot of companies. Like I'm trying to remember where I
I thought you were talking about like the slaves had the generational wealth.
No, not the slaves. We're talking about the slave owners and their families and other companies who benefit from this. And till right now, we're in 2021, and you look at, say, a bank like Chase Morgan.
Yeah.
Chase is one of those banks. Bank of America is another one of those banks that they had slaves. They own slaves.
Most of these large companies that have been around for a century or better have benefited from slavery from their ancestors. It might not have been them directly, but that was ancestral blood money that was passed down the line that allowed them to become and benefit and prosper the way they did.
Yes, and it was more than
it is blood money. It is not generational wealth. That's blood money that they have.
Oh, absolutely. But it's still, in a way, it's definitely blood money, but it's still that generational wealth that was obtained because of that. You're passing that to your children, to their children. You're passing that generation to generation, but yet all the people who work for you, they still have nothing, or they haven't received anything. Because at the end of the day, like we'll talk about that, and I want to get on reparations.
Okay, man, I'm gonna say something to that, what you're saying too, because now is the mindset is shifting. But finish your thought. Finish your thought.
Well, there was just a couple more. I was just kind of looking up some. Brooks Brothers, Tiffany's,
Mhm.
USA Today, Wells Fargo. Those are just some of the other ones. And Lehman Brothers. I can't remember too much about them, but I've heard the name before. It says their whole empire started in the slave trade. So it's just amazing when you still hear these same companies today that are still around, still thriving, billion-dollar, trillion-dollar organizations. And where did you start from? And then what happened to the families? So this is a question then. What do you think about reparations? Because I feel like it would be great if it was going to happen. Realistically, I don't see
no reparations, girl.
I don't see it ever happening.
No, they're not going to give us any reparations, because that's why I was going to piggyback on you when you was talking about generational wealth and how the mind, how it's a shift now, I believe, in the Black community and a lot of communities that now we're looking at, we got to build generational wealth.
Yeah.
I may not see the wealth, but I want the wealth that I have to be passed down to my nieces, my nephews, and teach them how to build to leave for the next generation, because that's what they did. And that's why they're at where they're at right now. And we can see the pushback. And the prime example was what happened with GameStop, AMC, when those people played the stock market, hit big, and them the doggone hedge funds come out having tantrums, literally whining, and had the nerve to say, y'all sitting at home collecting a check. Like, wait a minute, bro. We work. We make that stock market keep going.
Yeah.
We the ones who had a stock market going. Because if we didn't buy any of that stuff, it wouldn't be no stock market. And how dare you get mad that we want a piece of the pie? It's enough for everybody.
People always talk about insider trading, but that's what you guys have been doing for years. You've had all the information. You've had all the inside gossip and info that you needed to make good investments and to get rich and to help others get rich and keep their money. But when it comes to the everyday people who are working hard and taking care of their families, we don't always get that information.
And they kind of show that the stock market is set up. It's not set up for us, because they was mad. They were mad.
Like they say, the rich get richer and the poor get what?
Poor. But it's gonna change, because we're learning, and what our mothers, fathers, grandfathers didn't know, we're learning, and we're gonna pass it on to our next generation, and we're gonna have that generational wealth.
Yes, and it's about making different moves too. Like, a lot of us are afraid to step out of our comfort zone and really kind of try different things. Like a lot of us are scared, not all of us, but a lot of us are scared to really invest in different stocks, to trade and things like that. We have to start looking at different ways to make money. We have to look at different sources of income. And we also have to know when to buy, when to sell. We have to know when to invest and then sit on it. Don't touch it. Don't mess with it. Let it sit there. Like, we have to do our homework and our research, and we have to learn about this stuff. Just like Bitcoins. You got Bitcoins. A lot of people, Bitcoin came out. I was actually looking at this. It came out in 2009.
2009, it came out.
A lot of people didn't know about Bitcoin. And when people do hear about something like that, it's like, I don't know about that. I'm not going to mess with it. Imagine all the people who invested in Bitcoin back in 2009 actually sat on their stuff, their Bitcoins, and in 2020, your Bitcoin went from 10 cents to $50,000. But the catch was, some of the people lost their money, lost millions because they didn't know their passwords.
Yeah, that's the only thing about crypto, because you are your bank when you're dealing with cryptocurrency, and I want to encourage people just to learn about cryptocurrency in general, because Bitcoin is the main one, but it's so many other Bitcoins or cryptocurrencies out there that are making money. People are getting paid off of them. You just do your research, read up on it. Google will tell you everything. And you don't need a lot of money. Again, like with Bitcoin, because I think people get overwhelmed. Like, I don't have enough money to get this stock, or you can do partial stocks. You just got to find the right platforms that allow you to do that. And definitely with Bitcoin, buy pieces. Put $10 in that boy every check. Get you a piece of it, because as it grow, your money gonna grow. And Bitcoin is not done growing.
No, not at all. Not at all. Invest, people. Look at your future. And saying Bitcoin is at 50,000. Yes, it is.
I thought it was at 52 today when I looked at it.
I looked at
the stocks and all that every day.
But listen, when I first started getting into Bitcoin, actually purchasing it, it was at 17,000. And I was so mad because I'm like, had I put, even when it was at 17, I still should have put more money on it. I put money on it. I didn't put
if you think about it, if you put $10, at least that's 120, and most of us can put more than that. Because if you think about it, you going out to eat, you buying the latest gym shoes, you getting some drink, you getting some smoke. All that money that's wasted income. Absolutely. You can take that and put it into a stock or into Bitcoin and watch your money grow.
Yes,
that's what you want to indulge in. But the other stuff can wait because that stuff that doesn't appreciate with time.
At all. So,
but yeah, I don't think we're gonna get no reparations. We got sidetracked, but
we're not getting reparations. But I would say honestly, we know that's not realistic. But if they were gonna do anything, then I would say instead of just giving individuals money, you don't even have to do that. But pay off some of these student loans. It would be great. But I'm just saying, to me, pay off some of these student loans.
Yeah, they could pay off student loans and then offer college free to African Americans.
And also
Native Americans
don't want to go to college. Offer them, pay for their
trade something. Offer them something to get them a step up.
Yeah, there's so many different ways that they can pay it forward because they owe us. We don't want to say that a lot of times like that, but they owe us. They owe our ancestors. For all the money they got from them, they owe.
Yeah,
it's about
and they still do, and they still mistreat us. They Absolutely. I just saw an article about a couple in California that was selling a home, and they put a lot of money into it, and it was appraised like only 100,000 more, and they put 500,000 in, and so then one of them had a white friend, and she said, "Well,
I forgot."
Yes, and she hung up pictures of her family, and they said they went from 100,000 to 550,000. Like, come on, so that happens daily to us.
Yes, that's not the first time I've heard that, and it won't be the last. Unfortunately, they said it was an older white woman that came in to do the appraisal, but they intentionally do that. They know how much money is in real estate. And owning properties.
So they steadily snatching from our wealth, but that's steadily taken from our wealth and things that we can invest in, and things that we can leave to our children, our legacy.
But
and it's not just done to Black people, it's probably done to every minority that's in this country.
Yes, it's a perfect example of racial bias and how they're intentionally trying to hold us back. Like, give them what their money is appraised. It was another story I saw that was similar to that, but the lady was Black, her husband was white. When they had their home appraised, it was a low number. So they decided to have another person come in and appraise their home. So this time the wife decided to take all the pictures out where she was in it. She left her husband, because her husband's a white man. She left him at the house. And when she did that and they did the appraisal, I forgot how much more. They got over $100,000 more. I forgot exactly how much, but it was a lot. It was appraised a lot higher because that Black wife wasn't in the house. And that says a lot.
Yeah.
Like, you have to pay that attention. Pay attention to that. But it's good to have a white man that know what's going on and is, like, okay, I'll help you. I got you.
Yeah, but it's entwined in the fabric of our country, of this country. And it's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate because they don't realize the disservice that they do to themselves. When you look at other countries, that's how far they are technology-wise and different things. And that's because everybody has a shot. Is not, you know what I mean? If you think about all the wasted potential that's in prison, that's dead, a lot. I mean, you sell dope, you got to be pretty goddamn savvy to do that and to make money. Right. Imagine if you was running a company legal.
Exactly. Because you are running an illegal business. So you're running like your own illegal.
Your own empire, man. You have empires. You have created empires illegally.
Yes.
So if you gave this same young man, and mind you, they only be in their like mid-20s. They don't be old. So give this same young man an opportunity to run a company. He'll run circles around all these CEOs because most of them mediocre. They don't know what they're doing. They have no idea.
None.
Somebody gave them a chance, and that was it.
And then some of them, you know, it's simply because, but some of them got a chance because of dad. Because and
a lot of it is that. And then you hire good people around you to make you look good.
Family connections could be everything for some people. And unfortunately, it's so many people that just don't have that. So let's talk about the I guess we can start with Black History Month. Huh?
We still on?
Yeah. I think.
Danielle.
The host muted your mic. Oh no, we might not be.
I think we lost connection.
Huh?
It lost connection. Okay, we back. Okay. Okay.
Okay, my mic is muted. Oh, we just sitting there talking.
Yeah.
We're wrong.
They used to us. We're not real formal.
And we are all over the place.
Right.
So what about these HBCUs? Like I remember it was a while ago. I remember Wendy was talking about it, and she was saying, well, she doesn't understand HBCUs. You know, it's not fair that we have our own college.
Wendy Williams?
Yeah, she said that a while ago. It was a really big issue. You didn't see that?
Mm-mm.
Oh, you funny.
Y'all told you know, you Kristen, you know, I am not the.
I just thought it was interesting. I was like, really? Like, we're really gonna get mad because Black people have.
I just think that they don't. Some Black people, I don't think they don't understand, and maybe they just don't want to take the chance to understand. I don't know, because we all know why HBCUs were created.
Yes, because we were not allowed to go to their white colleges.
Exactly.
And if we were, there was actually, I was reading up on it. If we were allowed to go to their colleges, there was a limit. There was a certain quota. It had to be met. So it might be like maybe say 10 Black people, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of us were not allowed to go. So what did we do? We created our own schools. We created our own universities.
Mm-hmm.
Created our own educational system to make sure we were educated. Because the whole point was to keep us uneducated and ignorant.
Yeah. And why get rid of them? I mean, it's our legacy. That's their legacy that they left for us.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see a problem with the HBCUs. I went to the HBCU for a year.
Yeah, I remember. I remember.
It wasn't quite my cup of tea, but I was at HBCU.
And I mean, you have, I only got a couple of celebrities. I was just looking, like, just Googling, like, who else went? Like, people that, others would know.
A lot of people went to HBCU, a ton. You know what I'm saying?
Yolanda Adams. Yep. David Banner. Debbie Allen and Felicia Rashard.
Mm-hmm.
2 Chainz.
A lot of people went to HBCUs. Yes. And I mean, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like, I don't get like why it's such an issue, because it's not that many HBCUs compared to regular colleges that were established by white men. So who cares?
Not to mention, HBCUs don't restrict anyone else from actually applying.
Right, you can apply. Yeah, they take everybody, because when we were at Xavier, it was a ton. They were coming for the pharmaceutical. They were coming for their PharmD,
mm-hmm.
and it was basically all white students.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we used to always see them coming over for class.
It almost makes you kind of wonder, though. I want to ask somebody who actually has been to a HBCU that was a white student, just what actually made you want to go there. Was it just because it was an HBCU and you thought it would be something different? Or was it just simply because of the program and just because of the fact that it's just an excellent school and you didn't really care whether it was an HBCU or not? Yeah. So I'm just curious. That would be interesting. And then what was their experience like there also?
Because I know for Xavier, I believe they were like one of the top schools for pharmacy, and they were one of the top schools to get you into medical school.
Okay.
So, and at the end of the day, you gonna go to where you gonna get what you need.
Yeah.
But it is an episode of Vice. I don't know if our listeners know that show, but it's a show called Vice that's on cable. I don't know if it's on HBO, and I think they had their own station actually.
Okay.
But it is. They have an episode of a young man that goes to Jesus, not the brothers Morehouse.
Okay.
And he always wanted to go there. He's white, and he went, and he's in one of the fraternities.
Okay.
So he was like, he just want always to go.
Yeah.
And and at the end of the day, I don't see anything wrong with, they so used to, when I say they, mainstream, the mainstream group is so used to, they want people to idolize them. I don't see anything wrong with somebody of another nationality taking pride in Black culture and wanting to be participating in that.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Right. We participate in a white dominated society.
Yeah.
Which is basically white culture anyhow. So I don't see what the difference would be.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with white students wanting to attend a HBCU.
I think everyone should experience different cultures. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of white people, and then you have a lot of Black people also, and others who are sheltered. Like when you do a disservice to your child, to your family, sometimes to me, when you have a Black kid that has never been around anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to allow them to be around other people and experience different cultures. Because if not, it is a cultural shock.
Yep.
So I think it's something good that you have to do. Even white students, like I told you I had a white female friend. She had never met a Black person until she was 16. And she only met one.
Which to me is freaking insane.
Yes, it is.
And that's insane to me in this day and age. Like, so you really just stayed in your bubble. Because it is a lot of communities where there's no Black people. And we know not to go out that way because we're not really that welcome. So, you all right over there, ma'am?
Girl, my mama called. You called me like 3 times, so I had to answer.
Like, Ma, we live now.
I was like, I'm on the show now. She's like, what show? I said, I'm on there now.
Lord. Yeah, but I feel you made me lose what we was talking about.
Look, when mama called, you kind of send it to voicemail if you in the middle or something. When mama called 3 times, it's like, okay.
Yeah, it's like, what's wrong? You start thinking like, wait a minute, something wrong. Let me answer this.
Yes. So y'all had to excuse me when my mama called 3 times. I had to check and be like, okay, what's going on? You can't remember what you were talking about?
I don't even remember what we were talking about. Y'all, my memory just it don't take much for me to forget what I was thinking about.
I blame mama because I didn't forgot. I don't know. I just lost it already.
We was talking about, what was the next thing? Man, maybe I
this is one thing I found I was looking at too. It was saying universities like Princeton used to raise money and recruit students from rich slave-owning families in the South and in the Caribbean. Mm-hmm. It says they were actually not alone. Hold on, I just said I hate when I do talk to text because now I don't know what the heck it was saying. It said a lot of slave owners and traders will send their students also to Harvard. Give them money, make financial donations, send their students to Harvard, Yale, Penn, Columbia, Brown, Dartmouth, and a couple other ones. And it said by the mid-1700s, most of Princeton's students were actually sons of slave owners. It said many of Columbia students were also descendants of slave traders.
That's not shocking
at all. But you guys wonder why we have HBCUs.
Yeah.
But think about that. Why would we not have an HBCU when a majority of these universities have students there that parents own slaves?
Mm-hmm.
More than likely, they're out there helping to beat on the slaves and rape the slaves or whatever else. So, I mean, it only makes sense that we would have our own universities. We would have our own way of teaching our people.
Yeah.
Like people just, I mean, I'm just always thrown off when people don't understand that. It shouldn't be that hard to understand, especially when all the things that Black people were dealing with back then. It just makes sense.
So, Mama, we wasn't picking it. We weren't talking about you. But anyway,
you said,
no, I was gonna say. So, did you hear about the new candidate? That's running for governor here in Michigan. The Black man that said he gonna get rid of African American or Black History Month.
Oh, did he? I did not hear really too much about the new guy. I have heard that comment before, but he does realize we're not voting for him, right? He does know that, right?
He probably hoping he get that other base.
Dude, I would campaign. Listen, I don't even mess around with politics. I will help and campaign just to make sure somebody like that doesn't get in.
Because it's not racist.
No, it's not.
What's racist is that we only get a chapter, barely, in a history book.
A chapter. Listen, the problem is this, and this is the thing. If people don't understand and comprehend this, I don't know what to say. If you want to know why Black History Month is so important to Black people, if you look at the rest of the year, it's regular white history. It's not Black history. We're not focusing on that in school. They talk about the same people every single time. Martin King, Malcolm X.
They don't really talk about Malcolm. They talk about Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass, and Martin Luther King.
Yeah, it's always the same people. Like they're the only ones that has done something in our history. So Black history, and it's unfortunate, but I had to blame some of us for that too. My mother said, "Don't be talking about me."
That's what I was saying earlier. That's why I said we ain't talking about you, Ma.
The problem is we have to educate our children, but some of us cannot educate our children if we don't know our history. We have to learn our history, and then we have to teach our children. We have to make sure Black history is year-round. Black history cannot be just 1 month. It has to be year-round. We have to learn something. It's not hard to just Google and just find something to share with your child. Every week, find a new Black person and find out. If you just Google this, Google inventions made by Black people. There are so many, it's ridiculous, including that comb and brush, iron, traffic light. It's so many more.
Basically everything. Like everything. When you start looking, it's like everything.
Pretty much. Everything. What have we not invented is the question. We're
and
not
the issue is that and a lot of the stuff they gave credit to white people was because we couldn't get patents.
Yeah.
So a white person patented, and then they just became the inventor. And
they stole our ideas. But they stole our inventions, our music.
Your intellectual property, all of that.
Yeah, I mean, we have to reclaim our history. But this is the thing. Like some people are not for, I was hearing that they were talking about doing Black history classes, an elective. And I am all for it.
I am too.
It's time, but the problem is, I also heard that they were saying that they will actually allow certain cities or states to opt out of it. Why? You won't allow us to opt out of your whitewash version,
like out of U.S. history, and I hate it. When I tell you I hated U.S. history, and I was telling you that the other day, Crystal, I hated U.S. history. It was so boring. It was just. It was, you could tell it was so whitewashed.
Absolutely.
All the things that they did, the atrocities that they did to build this country, I love world history, but American history, they can keep that.
Yeah.
They could have kept that. And I almost got away without taking it, and they caught it when I was in 11th grade. And it was like, you didn't have it.
I can't lie. I did like history. History is actually one of my favorite, has always been one of my favorite classes. But the problem is it is extremely whitewashed and it's filled with a bunch of lies. I want to see Black professors like what is it? Dang it, I can't think of his name. On PBS, Gates, Dr. Gates. Professor Gates. I want to see people like him and others come together. I want to see them come up with a real curriculum for our children. Stop teaching our children that their history starts as slavery, because that's a lie. You start destroying our kids as soon as they're children. So by the time they become adults, you're not trying to instill any real value in them. We need our kids to know that we have descendants that were kings, that were queens, that were very articulate. Like they were saying how they didn't think Africans could read, could write, could do this, could do that. All of that has been misspelled. I mean, it's been proven that it's a lie.
Yeah, because a slave taught one of the doctors about inoculations, that because they were doing inoculations for disease in Africa.
But again, the history that they've been telling us through the years has been whitewashed. It's a lie. They were because very
because at the end of the day, who gonna have pride in being coming from a slave?
Exactly, and that's the point.
When you think about it, who gonna have pride from that?
But that's the point.
Even though they were strong,
yeah.
You know?
But if you study a person's history, there's no reason out of all the people in the world, we're some of the only people who don't know our real history. Our history has been stolen. It's been whitewashed. It's been completely destroyed for some of us. So now we're learning. So it's crazy because some of us are learning about our past, our descendants as adults. They're not trying to give us anything to be proud of.
And you know, if anything they could do, you know, they act like they can't trace where we came back from, and to some extent they probably can't. But we were a commodity, and I know they still got those ledgers. They got ledgers that go and then we can trace back. Some
of them they actually have been. I've actually watched programs where they've done DNA tests and they've been able to trace them back to exactly what tribe they came from and exactly where. They've also had ledgers that showed the first person who came over here to the U.S. and was sold, and they are able to trace some of them back.
I know, and what reason more than what they're doing. They just don't do it for TV. I said they can do more than what they're doing.
Absolutely,
because they have ledgers, because we can at some point. At some point, they started naming them, because I know they would just put like very like identifying stuff on there. They maybe didn't have a name for them.
Yeah.
But at some point, these people had names and they were putting the names down.
So there's a challenge right there to a lot of people out here. Learn your history. Find out about your history. You know, find out. A lot of us don't even know who our great grandparents were, because some of us never met them, and we never sat and really talked to our parents and found out any information. Find out who your grandparents are if you've never met them. Find out who your great grandparents were. Get your family history and be able to teach that to your children. Like right now, I'm still actually researching some of our family history, but I was blessed to actually know my great grandparents. My mom, I knew her grandmother, which was my great grandmother. Her husband passed away, so I never got a chance to meet him. I knew my great grandmother on my mother's mother. I knew her mom. So I knew both of them. I knew information on the great grandfather. He wasn't in Michigan. I unfortunately never got a chance to meet him, but I got a chance to meet some of my other great grandparents. And I mean, it's a blessing to actually be able to meet them, be able to talk to them. Like I used to talk to my grandfather because I wanted to know more of our family history. And I was only a teenager. I would still ask questions. it's important that we know. We have to know where we come from. You could be dating, I hate to say it like this, but you could be dating a cousin because you don't know any of your family history.
That's facts.
You don't know the last names. You don't know anything.
You don't know your daddy.
For real, you really don't. You know, a lot of people don't. You've never met your father, so you don't know who's related to you.
I don't know nothing about my dad's family because I ain't have a relationship with them. So,
which is crazy, especially if you guys are in the same city. You could be standing with a cousin and never even know it.
Yep, I wouldn't know. And I always say that because I do know some of them don't live far away from me. And I was like, I've probably been in the store with them, and I didn't know who they were.
Look, as a matter of fact, while I'm saying that, you know, I just remember at Pooh's mom, her funeral. My cousin was at the funeral. A cousin I had never met, never seen before on my granddad's side of the family. She was actually my grandfather's sister's granddaughter.
Okay.
And I never met her. And the only reason I even noticed her is because I kept telling Rosin that she looked like her mom. And I kept saying, that lady remind me of your mom. And I kept saying it, and I don't know why, but it just kept, I forgot how I found out. I think we ended up talking, and I ended up finding out that she was a cousin, which is crazy. And actually, I ran into another cousin I didn't even know they were related either. So, I mean, it definitely happens. So that's why it's so important. Know your family, know where you come from, and be proud of your heritage. We are Black people. We are proud, and we have to teach our kids just to be better, just to be proud, because we come from strong people. Everything that Black people have endured in this country, and they can still stand tall and still be proud of who they are. Like, we have so much more we can achieve, and we just have to really encourage people, and especially right now, encourage these young people, encourage these children to do more, to be more. No disrespect, nothing wrong with trying to be a basketball player or a rapper. There's nothing wrong with that, but I need some of these kids to get back to either be your own business owner, be an entrepreneur, own your own stuff, employ other people, or be a lawyer, be a doctor, be a scientist. What happened to us pushing programs like that? You know, young women, young ladies.
Computers is the future. Computers. That's our future.
Yes. Yes, we have to do more. We have to learn more. So with that, we are wrapping up our show. It was good talking to you guys, and we will see you guys next time.
March 4th.
Make a move, make it better.
Yeah.
Forget the rest.
How y'all feeling?